Hey, 2 weeks in a row. It's the Pioneer DJ Happy Hour. I'm your host, Jay Brannon. I'm excited to be back. I told you last week we had a new release. The new release came out a couple days ago, and it is the DDJ-FLX6, the Flex 6. I have one over there. I've got my boy PJ coming in. He's going to be going over, doing a little demo. I got my boy Pulse coming in. He's going to be going over what rekordbox 6.3, the newest version that just dropped, offers to work with the Flex 6. And got my boy Mark Gallo from Florida coming in, talking about what he's doing to prep up for 2021, because we're all doing that. We're all figuring out what goes next. But it's the happy hour, and it's BYOB, as you know. 2 weeks in a row of having a drink on a Thursday. Those that know me really well know this is a rarity for me. This week, it's warm out here. I'm in SoCal. I'm here at HQ with my producer, JP, of course. But this week I decided to go with something not only in the can. This one's the beer, by the way. This one is just a sparkling water. But it's a grapefruit Solis. It's an Indian Pale Ale, which I'm a fan of. So this week we're doing a grapefruit Indian Pale Ale because I think the summer numbers, the 70s, 80s that I'm experiencing now, they're about to go south on me. So love that noise. So to all of you that have been watching, that are watching, please, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all healthy. Stay safe. We're going to come out of everything. We're all going to make a bundle of money next year. We're all going to do well. We're going to DJ every party we ever wanted to. So to all of you, cheers. Shlanka, there we go. Take a quick sip. It's good. Again, this is San Diego, which is south of here. If you're a brewer, you know somebody that does brewing, send them my way. I'll give them the press. I'll drink their stuff on camera. I'll mention them. We'll get them a little something. Of course, XMG, one of our partners, gave me this beautiful laptop to use. It's up there behind the camera. I'll be going to that in a little bit, running rekordbox with the new DDJ-FLX6. I want to talk about a few things first as we get up front. One is I want to make sure you're following us on all the platforms. Every platform we do is Pioneer DJ USA. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Pioneer DJ USA. Now, Twitch, the big thing, I've talked to my bosses, nicest guys in the world, and they've said, hey, we got people that watch, every couple of weeks. They're supporters, they're fans of the show. Let's look at going into Twitch and making them VIPs on the channel. So after the show, I'm going to go back to the chat and start tagging people VIP, so you're going to get that crown when you come into our room. I just want you to know that we appreciate, and especially I appreciate that you're here supporting not only us as a company and a manufacturer, but me doing the show and me hanging out with my producer, JP, and everything else. So please make sure you're following us on Twitch especially. And again, Pioneer DJ USA, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Pioneer DJ news this week. The big news, of course, we've got the Flex 6. That came out. Something I do want to mention, though. I spoke with my boy Pulse, who will be coming up in a little bit, and we were going over some things on the forums. This is the rule of thumb. When you get new OS, new chipset especially, hold off a little bit if possible. If you can wait to move rekordbox over to a new laptop running a brand new OS, you may want to do so. It takes us, like all manufacturers, a little bit to catch up with what Apple has done. They're not giving us laptops early on saying, here's a laptop, go check it out, see what you can do. So Big Sur is out. I'm not going to be using it really soon. I'm still using Mojave with no issues. Everything's working great with rekordbox. So if you can, as we've posted on our global channel as well as our US channel, hang back and wait a little bit on updating to any of the new OSs. I'll give you my own personal experience. This is not a voice of Pioneer. This is just me as a DJ. I try to stay one or two back, meaning even with software, I stay one or two versions back on OSs unless I have to upgrade things to make them run with new gear. Otherwise, I'm staying back. So that's the news thing I want to talk about. A couple other things I want to talk about, and if you want to put this in the chat, I'd appreciate it. I know during this downtime, I've fallen in love with podcasts. big podcast fan. Love driving around listening to podcasts. Big one I listen to is probably Joe Rogan. I know a lot of people do. But I heard something that has to do with our industry on a podcast I follow called Talking Sopranos. And it's Michael Imperioli and Steve Shrippa from the show. And they interview people that were tied in with the show, production, actors, writers, whatever. But this week, they actually talked to somebody from the music angle. And it was very interesting to hear about the cost of licensing music, because that's such a big topic right now with Facebook, with Twitch, with SoundCloud, with everything, all the platforms coming under fire for letting us as DJs play copywritten music. I thought it would be interesting after hearing it to just mention to you if you didn't know this. Apparently, once you try to get a song to go on something like a TV show, you have two proprietary licenses. You have the publishing, which is the writing angle, the writing side of it. And then you have the mastering, the recording side of it. So you might get the writer to say yes. Then you have to get the label to say yes. They were the very first show to ever use a Led Zeppelin song. They used rock and roll in an episode, and it cost them to get that into the show $100,000. We hear all the time about how companies coming after us and everyone else about music and copyright. There's a lot of money that goes into it. Apparently, the kind of stairs that you have to walk up to get a song, you have to pay for the song to get played. You have to double that back in the day for DVD. Now it's different for streaming, but for that era, it was pay for performance, pay for DVD, which was double performance. So if you paid 100, DVD would be 200, and then a 27% fee that goes on for future reuse, whether it's syndication or other things. So you can see where it adds up very quickly. I just was kind of astonished. They averaged between $15,000 and $50,000 a song on their show. A lot of money. Didn't realize songs cost that much. So to me, at least, very interesting. This kind of ties in. It's the holiday time, and we have clients that we've worked with over the years as mobile DJs, as performance DJs on any realm. I ended up reaching out to one of my clients, said, hey, just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I won't see you this year, obviously. I'm not doing any events with you in December. And they said, yeah, it's too bad. We're having a party at our house with just 20 people. And I said, well, now that you mention that, if you'd like, maybe I could do a live performance. So what they've now decided to do, and everything working in a perfect world, I'm actually going to do a holiday party on Twitch for my client. They're going to plug me in to their surround sound system, and I'll be actually on their monitor, which actually we did a few weeks ago. We posted something like this on the Pioneer DJ USA Instagram page. Guy down in San Diego was sending a live monitor feed up with gear in front of it. Looked really cool. But we're going to do it this way. So I'll have my system, and then I'll have a second laptop where I can see the chat. If they request music, whatever they're kind of looking for, I can go through this whole thing with them and set it up. And it's going to be about 2 hours. And we've worked out a fee that works for them and for me because I'll be in my office at home. But the point of the story is, if you have clients where you'd normally do something for them, maybe reaching out and just saying, hey, I know you can't leave your house and I can't leave my house and we can't do anything. But if you're going to have some close friends and family over, would you like me to do a 1 hour performance just for you, where you can say to me live time, hey, would you mind playing this Christmas song? Absolutely, I wouldn't. You could be working 7 nights a week doing this. So I was really taken aback when the client said, we'd like to pay you for the 2 hours and let's get a fee together and you'll be at home and we'll be at home and everyone's happy. No, it's not what I want. No, it's not what you want. But I think it's something where we can at least expand upon what we're doing. So as we talked about last week's show about Twitch and their changes, I realize that. But that's not going to stop me personally from continuing to do live sets. I'm doing one Friday night. I'm actually going to use the FLX6. So in the meantime, let's all just go out and DJ. Let's be DJs. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Let's make the world a better place by playing music, by doing our thing. If you don't have a Twitch page, it's free. Just get one. If you're in the chat room and you've been in the chat room, as I said, I'm going to do my best to make you guys VIPs. We're moving forward. We're going to be doing a lot more giveaways on the show. We are taking a couple weeks off because of the holidays. My producer's going off to Mount Kilimanjaro. He's doing a climb there, which I am very, respectful of. So we're not going to be back until the December 10th. But in the interim, work on maybe contacting all of your holiday clients. Maybe just the person that hired you wants to do a party with 10 people in their house. Or maybe they just want to hear cool music mixed live in their house. So between now and you getting a client to do this, start going on Twitch. Do an hour every other day. Do a Zoom private room if you need to with a password. Whatever makes you feel most comfortable. But I think it's really something as DJs we can move forward and start doing. So all that talking, need a quick sip of the Mike Hess over here. This is really good, actually. The grapefruit Indian Pale Ale. Very kind of refreshing on a hot day. It's in the 70s out here. It's hot for us. Now, what I'd like to do is the topic of the show, obviously, is the new DDJ-FLX6, Flex 6. I'd like to show it to you, give you some topics, just some thoughts that I have on it, show you a couple little audio things, and then I'm going to throw it over to my boy Pulse, because it's a rekordbox controller. It also runs Serato, and it doesn't run Serato Lite. It runs Serato DJ Pro. That's what it unlocks. So this is, in my opinion, this is the upgrade of the 400 to a 4-channel, full platter, intro beginner DJ piece that if you're an experienced DJ who's professional, out gigging, and your gear is in a storage locker, it's in the garage, it's in cases, you don't want to lug it out, this is a perfect piece. The reason I'm using it Friday on Twitch is because I go through my computer to get onto Twitch. So I'm taking an RCA output and moving it down to a mini plug. That's perfect. That's all I need. I need a quick monitor, and this does have a booth output, and I need the master out to simply go into my computer. So for practice, for online usage, this is a great piece. Okay? Before we get to Pulse, though, the in-ears come out, and I'm going to make my way up here to the performance stage in our studio today. It'll take me a second to get up there, but I'll be right back with you, okay? And I'm back. So here we are. I am up here ready to set up with the Flex 6. Looking at it, you've got a 4-channel, full-size platter. Believe it or not, these platters are as big as the platters on the CDJ-3000. Again, this is, for me personally, I would recommend this highly to someone that really wants to get into DJing and doesn't want to work with a DDJ-400 SB3 in a small 2-channel format. But they want something that's easy to get to, not going to take up a lot of cabling. It's one simple cable, USB, for power to go up to my laptop. So just real quick, starting over here, it mimics on both sides. And the other thing you've got to remember is if you're coming off some of our top-end pro line gear, this would be no issue. Everything is where you think it is. Looping's up here at the top. Your play and cue are down here. Platter in the middle. Call and memory are up here, which is really reminiscent of going back as far as the CDJ-1000 days and forward all the way up to the CDJ-3000. So this takes its cue from a lot of other equipment. The two big things that this offers is not only full-size platters for someone that's just getting into DJing, but it offers this big button knob right here with the blue light. This is the merge effects. PJ is going to go into this in a lot more detail than I am, but I am going to show you a little bit of it. What it does is it allows you to go into rekordbox DJ and pick multiple effects as not only a breakdown or build-up, but a release and then an ending. So if you can hear that, I've just got a track playing right here. I'm going to push this button in the middle. I'm on, of the 4 decks of merge effects, I'm on number 4. So as I push the button, you see it? I've got it set up with the Mobius. So as I turn it, it builds, and then when I push it, knocks it off, drags it down, and gives me a chance to go to the next step. Because what it does is it kills that song. This is a way of getting new DJs who aren't familiar with how to do real mixing setup like we would do by ear and move crossfaders, a way of simply sliding a crossfader with an effect. Again, what I can do is go over here now. Let's go to a different one. I'll go to number 1 on the merge bank, hit that, start turning it. I've got it set up with a snare, hit that. Should come out, going to the next track. So I've had people online look at this and say, oh, I don't like that. It does this, it does that. We're used to doing it with our ears. We're used to. Yeah, we are, because we're professional DJs. We've been at this for a while. If you're brand new and you need to get into something, especially as a 4-channel, you're good to go. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I'm using this live on Twitch on Friday because this is great. You're going to see the set coming up from PJ. It's amazing. I was fortunate enough to see the set earlier. He's killing it, and it's on this unit. This is for the 4-deck, full platter intro DJ who wants to get into this and says, how can I do it? I don't want this tiny little thing. This is the one. If my neighbor called up and said, I got this killer surround sound system, do you want to come over and spin with like 1 speaker as a monitor, or just come over and plug in? This would be my option. By the way, you see I don't know what you can see on camera today, but if you notice, USB, I've got booth out, master out, that's it. There's no power anywhere. So this works perfect for what I want to do. This is really a great setup. I'm looking at it from the perspective of I've got a platter, I've got cue buttons, I've got all these pads. It mimics a lot of the things that I use on the DDJ-1000, on the SX3, but it does it in a much smaller footprint as far as scope. And it does it in obviously a much better price range for what you're getting. Plus, when I showed it to people that aren't DJs, their first thought, oddly enough, was, wow, these look just like records. I think because these are such a glossy black finish on the platters that they look more like a record than they look like anything else. We also have the jog cutter, which I think PJ is going to go into a little bit more than I am. But what it allows is different effects of scratching. So as you pull it and get to a certain spot, you can emulate a certain scratch effect. This is something we did earlier with the SB3 with Jazzy Jeff, when we actually had the scratch effects built in on an algorithm that he created. We're doing the same sort of thing right here, but we're doing it with different spots that you can pull different effects. Again, this is an item that someone that's new to DJing or wants to get into DJing is going to feel and see as a professional appearance and response unit. So I know a lot of people online have said to me, yeah, but I thought and I wanted. You got to look at things for what they are. Not every piece of gear that's manufactured is made for me or for you sometimes. But if you had this, example, your gear's in a storage unit. I've got friends in New Jersey, the name rhymes with bar, stuff's in a storage unit, need something to practice at home. This is perfect. You have a fully charged laptop, you plug it into here, and you're in business. So I'm taking my XMG DJ laptop, which is amazing, up here, and it's running this. I could sit in my car and do this with headphones. I don't need to worry about it. So I think you need to look perspective-wise where we are with the gear and what best serves what you're looking for. That said, in a moment, when I get back over there, we're going to bring in PJ. He's going to go in a much deeper dive as far as breaking down left to right and the mixer set, what's there for you. Then he's going to give us a performance. We're excited about that. But even before we do that, I think we should go to my boy Pulse. So I'm going to move back over there as we bring in Pulse. I'm going to undo this because I want to get off of this section and bring my amazing XMG laptop that I'm holding and doing my little Vanna White with. I'm going to bring this over to my chair. As I do, we're going to be bringing in my boy Pulse to chit chat with us about what's new in rekordbox 6.3, because that's one of the things you always have to remember. I know earlier I mentioned whatever you do, don't upgrade things when they're brand new. I still stand by that. But if you have to, you have to. So in something like this is one of those have tos. If you want to use this with rekordbox, you have to upgrade to 6.3 because that's where it unlocks it. Same as if you want to use this with Serato, you have to upgrade to 2.4.2. So, got Mr. Lappy Top right there. We're going to bring in my boy Pulse to be chit-chatting about rekordbox. I'm going to need another sip of all that chit-chat. And cheers to everybody. Hopefully you're having a little something with me.
Cheers, Jay. I already finished my drink waiting for you to talk about the Flex 6. Or...
Oh, geez, sorry about that. Well, I'll have another drink for you, my friend. How are you?
All right. I'm well. I'm in casual mode today. I'm not wearing the brand.
That's what I like to see up there in Canada, which is right. far away, like 2-hour flight. It's nothing big.
Upstairs neighbor.
Up there in Vancouver. But man, are we excited about 6.3, new version of rekordbox?
One of the things that users might notice is that we've been dropping new versions when the new hardware has been coming out, and there have been little things that are snuck in with those releases. So it's not just support for the new hardware. Like we had 6.2 where we launched the DJI-11, and now 6.3 with the announcement of the Flex 6. It's not just bringing in the support for those hardware units. We actually have, as you mentioned, the merge effects. Those are available for other users as well. Yes, the Flex 6 has a dedicated control for it, but other people can take advantage. I actually, I'm gonna hold my my name over the brand, my finger over the brand here, but I actually mapped this guy, and I was using it with an S11 to do some of the merge effects the other day, and it's so much fun. I got distracted from what I was doing. You can of course use MIDI mapping in rekordbox to do all that. Sampler scratch, as PJ will undoubtedly demonstrate for us. Now, something that was introduced with the Flex 6, but it was already in the Serato thing for the S11. I know a lot of S11 users are going, well, hey, what about me? I can't use this yet. Don't worry, it's coming. We're working on that. It's a big ask, but we're getting there. And then 6.3 has some other gems that are nested in. For those who got really upset about the fact that we removed a certain feature when we went to version 6, XML has returned, so you can once again export your XML to migrate between different versions of rekordbox or to move to other applications. Yeah, that was a big one. I know some people wanted to stick with version 5 for whatever reason. If it was they had purchased a license for something, they liked the concepts in version 6, but the two were incompatible in terms of the database. So you couldn't just take your stuff from version 6 and move backwards down to 5. This now allows that to happen. Now, I will point out there are still a couple of quirks with the way the XML playlists are loaded, but that is something we have been aware of for quite some time and are working to improve. But a whole host of other fixes, including my notes here. There was a fix to the master deck being not automatically being selected when using the lighting for Pro DJ Link. Other things such as the effects being displayed on the S11, S9, some improved beat number display. So there is a whole bunch of stuff that happened behind the scenes, but of course, the big ones, as you mentioned, new Flex 6 integration, the merge effect, sample scratch, and everyone's favorite XML.
Awesome. Excuse me. Yeah, I got really excited when I saw the release notes. I'm like, this is going to make a lot of the S11 users happy, and it's going to make a ton of rekordbox users happy. As we move forward, do you think this is going to be a constant as far as if new gear shows up? Do you foresee updates to rekordbox constantly? Because rekordbox is growing by leaps and bounds in the last 6 months.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, with the release of 6 this year, it's been a lot of substantial changes, and definitely we are introducing more and more features to the creative plan so that we get people interested in using those things. The edit mode, of course, was a big one that got launched, and we have been testing a cool new feature that I can't even talk about because it's not slated for release date yet, but we have had our internal team testing out a really cool new feature that I'm excited for when it's going to drop. I don't know if that's being paired with hardware or not, but there's more on the way. I already know about what's happening in the 6.4 drop, and of course, there's always subsequent or incremental updates that are released to deal with bug fixes and improvements as well.
Right, right. Yeah, it's amazing to me, having spent the time I have with Pioneer DJ and watching the growth of rekordbox from, I mean, it's been 11 years, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
When we
it's
first started.
you look at the first versions being developed by another company, and then we took over and started doing it in house. And we came up from behind Serato and Tractor as being the big dogs, virtual DJ. It's a very competitive field, and I think we've done very well in introducing some fantastic features. Heck, my tag, which is a very simple thing, is still one of my favorite tools in rekordbox.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that you can go into a program and set it to tell you what songs fit within the realm that you're already playing as a DJ, that's a huge help when you're at an event.
The filters and the matching, absolutely.
Yeah, I would normally play this, but now I'm being given the opportunity to play that. Yeah, no, I every time there's a release note that comes my way, I'm always so much more impressed with how the engineers, and I know you're involved in that, so I've got to give you props and respect on that, have really taken things to another level and just kept it going. So
Absolutely.
I'm really excited. Now, the Flex 6 only came out a couple days ago. We all know that the wagon train to Canada takes a while as far as mail is concerned. So you probably have not seen this outside of photos. But I'm curious, before we let you go after talking about rekordbox, what's your first impression of the Flex 6?
I think it's actually a great product for us right now. I know I've seen comments saying that it's not what people wanted, either in an entry level, I'm going to call that a starter, or a light product, or something that's a little bit more advanced. And I say, well, that's actually a good thing, because that means that we had a gap to fill. If you look at what the pricing of the other products was, there's a big jump to get to the 800 or to the 1000 if you're on the Serato front. So this kind of fits that in between. And yeah, it might not have some of the professional features, XLR outputs, but to be perfectly honest, you and I both know that if you're not running like 50 feet of RCA cable, it's really not that big a deal. So I'm excited to see this as being a feature-rich product that kind of fits in the middle of our sub $1,000 range to get DJs excited with some of those layouts and features that they would find on pricier products.
Right. I think the thing out of the box that really amazed me was I saw the rekordbox logo, and then I saw the Serato logo, and I said, "Oh, awesome! There'll be a rekordbox Lite that I don't know about, and a Serato Lite." Yeah. And I went to download everything, and I realized I was downloading
full versions.
rekordbox DJ, the full version.
Yeah.
And Serato DJ Pro.
Yeah. And you got to remember, at that price, I mean, you're getting a heck of a lot of choice, and the software is included. So, yeah, it's a fantastic unit.
I mean, out of the box, you get, I think it's a 30-day free Beat Source link and Beatport link.
Yeah, I think there's some free trials included, but
yeah, even with Serato, you get pitch and time license and all of their back effects. So like Backpack, Wolfpack, Pack, J-Pack, all those famous effects.
It's more than you can shake a stick at.
Yeah. But I mean, it was odd at first, and then the more I touched and played with it, I was like, man, this thing's amazing. And it's amazing because it's reminiscent of what we always wanted in a piece that wasn't costing thousands of dollars.
Full-size jogs was always a request, yeah.
I mean, the beautiful wife walks in the other night and says, "Oh, are those records?" Like, what? Because in a dimly lit office space, it looked like 45s on top of a controller. And I'm like, no, it's actually the platter. Oh, they look like records. And then she walked away, and I'm like, what a great observation. So, I've been messing with it with rekordbox. I know that's you. And I've really been impressed and happy. Again, PJ's coming up in just a moment. He's going to do some more with merge effects and the jog cutter. But just the things I've been able to do, I can totally see using that in the quote unquote real world of when I get back to doing weddings and other parties. Get the right crowd on the dance floor where you can just give them 4 different optional effects.
And they're all customizable.
Oh, I can't
wait till he gets into that demo. If you haven't dug in, if people haven't seen this, it's actually quite powerful. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it really is. Well, as always, Respect, my friend. Thank you so much for making the time today. I know you're
My pleasure.
running around up there, and
I'm hanging out in the forum and in the Twitch chat today. So if you have any questions, drop them there, and I am helping pass some of them on to Jay. So you may get your question answered on screen.
And we're gonna again make note of who's in there a lot and who's asking the cool questions. I want to make VIPs out of people. I mean, you know me. I ultimately want to make everyone that watches this VIP. I want to do a live audience where I buy you guys beers. I got big dreams. I'm not going to lie. You know, just picture a show, but it'll be here. So I really appreciate your help in there today. Thank you so much for going over 6.3 bucks. It is an amazing setup, and can't wait till again we see each other. It'll probably be a while, but thank you.
And I'm going to give one more plug. Don't forget that even if you don't have the Flex 6, you can download rekordbox 6.3 and try out some of these new effects. It's a 30-day free trial, even if you don't have Pioneer hardware.
Yes, and go over them. That's awesome. And I'm sure moving forward, we'll put up videos on how to get merge effects into other pieces. But for now, if you get this to practice and do online and do Twitch sets and Zoom sets for the next few months as we get through this winter into next year when things are going to be better and everything's going to work well, this is the way to go. So again, Pulse, thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
Cheers.
You'll be seeing everybody in the Twitch chat room. And I think we're going to be letting you go back to work as we bring up my boy, PJ. Wow. Great presentation. Again, time for a sip.
How you doing?
You caught me drinking. I'm so sorry, PJ. How are you?
Cheers. How you doing?
I can't. Oh, there
Yes,
you are.
I do.
Let's see. What do you got this week? Oh,
I got the same as last time.
Good man. Good man.
Messed.
I can actually advertise because as the host, I can actually say who I'm, drinking. But so what's going on, buddy? What are you thinking about this Flex 6?
Well, you know me, I'm big on entry-level controllers because it helps younger kids, younger DJs learn on them, and it's really cool that we finally have something in the price bracket to give the folks using the SB3s or the 400s to be able to get them on a large jog wheel 4-channel platform without spending twice as much or more getting into a DDJ-1000 or a 1000 SRT and all the others.
Absolutely. Excuse me. Pardon me. It's fires and stuff. I think the thing about this that you and I were talking about a little bit earlier, and as I said, I am going to be using this online because I don't need to run a lot of cables. It's bus powered. And knowing that I can just run it off the laptop, I just need to keep the laptop battery going and I'm good to go. Running in directly to the laptop from RCA out of my booth out, which this happens to be because it has a booth out, into a mini plug and then running a broadcast service to get onto an online setup. I mean, it's a great practice piece. I'm not, as you know, you're a much better scratcher than I am. It doesn't come into play with what I'm doing, but even these platters I noticed with the jog cutter, I was kind of getting into it. What do you think about when new pieces come out like this that are really open to that marketplace of intro beginner DJs, letting them expand into merge effects, jog cutter, things like that? Do you think that's too much too soon? Or do you think this is fitting to get them to escalate their skill set?
I think it helps inspire them because like one of the frustrating things about having just professional gear as a beginner is not being able to get that sound. When you're actually messing with the jog cutter, you have a little bit of an idea as to how you probably want to get to. So it gives you that satisfaction, but at the same time, it's like you can turn the jog cutter off and start trying to emulate that sound that the jog cutter is doing.
Yeah. No, that was something that jumped right out at me when I first turned it on. I'm like, wow, it's not a good scratcher. This would actually be a great, when no one's looking, practice piece. Because it's showing me what it should sound like when I'm just touching the platter. By turning it off, I can then go through and do it myself. You haven't
No, for sure. And it's not...
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not an organic scratching sound. You can tell that it's automated, and it's not supposed to replace scratching. It's just supposed to give you an option to kind of give, because sometimes maybe the beginner, the entry level, or maybe even the intermediate DJ doesn't know about the culture and all the countless YouTube videos on it yet, and this might help them get over there. Oh, we lost Jay. But yeah, like just expanding on the jog cutter along with the merge effects. The merge effects, some people misunderstood it to be as a easy mix button. It's not an easy mix button. What it is, it's used very similarly to how you would use the echo out. You there, Jay? All right. So, you guys hear me? Okay, well, yeah, the merge effects is something that you can use the same way you use an echo out on professional gear when you're jumping from one tempo to another, and you can, you know, like, it's just an expansion of the echo out, except it gives you a little bit more effects with a couple samples, and not just as a tempo jumping tool, but also as a build-up tool, so you can get creative with changing the drop on a different song, which I'll show in my demonstration later.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't know if it came up on screen, but due to solar flares, you may have lost me for a moment. Not sure.
Yeah,
So
I kept talking. It's all good.
I noticed you've got that same gene that I have, where it's like the camera goes off and you're still talking. I definitely have. Why don't we do this? Would you mind terribly going over just kind of a left to right? I really didn't do a lot of that. I more or less just kind of gave it a quick once over, but maybe you could give us like a few minutes of just like starting left to right, what each side offers, what the mixer offers. Just, you know, it doesn't have to be too big, but just enough that people can go, you know what, this does make sense to get when my gear is in storage, when my gear is in the garage. I don't want to lug it out. I don't want to set up 50 cables. Would you mind doing that for us, PJ?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know you already showed merge effects, so I'll just show the sample scratch as well as the jog cutter.
Okay. But maybe also just, I kind of skipped over even saying I've got 4 channels with filters and things like that. Like if you were showing me the first time left to right.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Let's do that.
Perfect.
Whoops.
There you are.
So give me like just a minute. I lost my cameras for a second. So
it's all good. It's the solar flares.
Yeah.
You know what helps? Taking a sip.
Let's do this. So rekordbox camera top.
This is the thing I think you're going to see when PJ goes over it as well as does his performance. It's a lot more than it looks like, but it's also what it is. And what I mean by that is it's a piece that you're not going to be doing 100 weddings a year with, but it's a piece that you certainly could have at home in your studio or office and reference on practice or mixes. I think in a perfect world, your gear is somewhere else, either in the van, in the garage, in a storage unit, wherever, and you've got something in your home office space, apartment, condo, whatever, where you can practice and go over things and say, oh, I love this mix. Oh, this worked out perfect. You know, I hate when things come to mind and I go, oh man, I wish I could throw this down really quick. This is the kind of thing that I can keep off to the side because it's so 3.8 kilograms, which I think in pounds is like 12 ounces. It's very light. Keep it off to the side, pick it up, utilize it with the laptop. I don't need to worry about plugs. I don't need to worry about cabling as much. Set of headphones and at least get a set put together. Make my crates a little better, make my playlists in rekordbox DJ a little better, and just give you that opportunity. You know, someone that's always wanted to be DJ and they look at the smaller units and go, ah, it's not quite enough. This is exactly where you need to be. So we're going to check in with PJ about going over the kind of a left to right along with the mixer, you know, a few minutes just to sort of show people what I may have skipped over, PJ. How's that?
For sure. So basically, unlike the DDJ-400 and the SB3, this is now a 4-channel mixer. Now, there's no inputs. It's not for bringing other elements externally in. It's for controlling the 4 decks that you can see right above on rekordbox or Serato. So if you want to get ready into more than 2 deck mixing, you can do it here. So I could have something on 2, and then I could have something on deck 4. So I'm kind of spoiling my set. But it's laid out just like very similarly to a DJM 900 Nexus 2. The format has your trim, your EQ, your filter, and by the way, these filters can be changed in rekordbox to be color effects. So if you wanted noise or dub echo, it could totally do that. And the beat effects section is modeled also after the DJM 900 Nexus 2, except it captures the effects internally. It shows that you can toggle between 6, but you can change them to whatever you want in software. And that's the same as it goes for Serato. The toggle for channel is this button right here. And your beat duration or beat length is this button here. And of course, your level, your wet dry, along with your toggle to turn it on and off. And like Jay said, the merge effects is, he showed the merge effects earlier, and I'll show how to do it in my performance, but I'll show you how easy it is to be able to capture a scratch sample without needing to go into your library and pulling out your scratch samples. So over here, there's sample scratch. It's very similar to Scratch Bank. And when I hold shift and click sampler, and I click whatever sample bank has the sample, which is, for me, I don't have it on screen, but it's this button right here. Now it loaded the scratch sample on deck 4. Let me load it on deck 2. Hit that. Now I have a scratch sample there. And I can switch over to hot cue, just like in a scratch bank on the S11. And now I can toggle all my hot cues of that scratch track. Now, segueing over, what can you do with jog cutter now that I have a scratch sample loaded? So when you turn jog cutter on, basically what it does is it does a couple cut patterns and a couple scratch rotation patterns as you move the playhead to different positions. And what it can do is it could do it based on the BPM of whatever you set to master. This is the master that you use for setting whatever you want the beat sync to. I want it on this track. It's 131 BPM. So I'm gonna bring in, gonna press play. I'm gonna use the pattern that's on this part. Turn on the jog cutter. Little chirp scratch. And you can go all the way around and do different things. But my favorite one's right there. And then if you want to go manual, so you can turn off the jog cutter and go back and forth. You can go for the quantized robotic scratching and then go into the organic manual scratching. And that's one of the cool things about that feature. But yeah, like Jay was saying, it's very, very light. It's not for the professional gigging DJ. It's not for the person who needs XLRs to plug into a big speaker. This is for DJs who just need a little more than the DDJ-400 and are looking to get into 4-channel mixing, a couple of extra features, and just be able to carry it everywhere because it's really light and use it anywhere, sometimes when you don't have power because it's bus powered.
Yeah. No,
so I'm going to be, yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. No, that was the thing that at first you look at it and say, oh, it's only bus powered. No, it's only bus powered because that's what makes it somewhat amazing. I have a buddy down outside kind of South San Diego who does a lot of wireless speaker events. He's like, wait, it's bus powered? I'm like, yeah. He goes, so if I have power from my laptop and I plug into the outputs with my 2 transmitters that are battery powered, I'm completely wireless with no need for power. I'm like, yeah. Because he's actually using an SB3 right now and he wants more. He wants more channels, even though he can, dance around. He physically wants 4 channels because it has a more professional look and he needs to utilize those decks. He's like, he's already like, yeah, I've already ordered it. I'm like, really? It's like, this is perfect for those outdoor events I'm doing out in a vineyard, out on the beach, out wherever, where power is something I can't get access to. I don't want to take you up all day. I know you got a lot going on. So what I would love to do is get to your performance, because then I know you have to get going. We still have to talk with Mr. Mark Gallo, DJ down there in South Florida, see what's happening with him and our plans for next year. Do you want to shift cameras to get to your performance? What's the best avenue for you to take to get over to that?
So just give me 2 minutes and I'll go camera off, and then I'll get everything set up because I kind of messed it up during the demo. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I heard earlier, I saw a demo of you wearing a Speedo. I prefer if you don't do that.
Yeah.
I know
won't be doing that at all.
the rider notes. I'm just telling you, as the host of the show, I've said no to that. So outside of that, we should be good to do the black turtleneck. It's a good look. While he gets ready,
Yep.
I want to give you a little insight. We did back-to-back shows. This was set up initially back in, first show was in September, I believe. Is fifth show, sixth show? What? This is our fifth show. Time goes by so fast. We were set up to go every couple weeks against our DJs and PJs, but things have changed. You know, obviously next week is Thanksgiving. Then the following week we're doing, I believe, DJs and PJs. So we'll be back December 10th. But between now and then, I'm going to start trying to reach out a little bit on the Pioneer DJ Facebook and Instagram and just put a post that might have the logo for the happy hour show with some things that we're looking at doing. There are things to help you as a DJ, especially if you're creative and you're making your own music. So I can't announce it yet, but let me underline making own music or making own beats, something in the way of instrumentals. So if that's something that you're doing or want to get doing, I would highly suggest you start working on it, and you'll start hearing from me on our, Pioneer DJ USA Facebook, Instagram, and especially on Twitch. We may start doing impromptu AMAs. I've had some people reach out to me and say, can you do a half an hour AMA? So what we might do is after the next DJs and PJs, do a quick AMA afterwards. And the AMA, if you don't know, if you're like me and you're not familiar with using initials for everything, to have, an ATA do an EOD by an AMA and all that. AMA is just ask me anything. So it would simply be a quick half-hour show where you could ask me questions, whether it's things about Pioneer gear, software, things I do, things I don't do, whatever. But December 10th will be our next show while we let PJ set up. He's in Iowa. It's cold there. It's where one of my fave bands comes from, and I'll see if PJ drops any of that band in there. But I don't know.
You put me on the spot.
Not bad. All right, I believe PJ is back with us, so we're now going to throw it over to him.
All right.
Hold still right before we crash, 'cause we both know how this ends. A clock ticks till it breaks your back, and I drown in you again. 'Cause you are the piece of me I wish I didn't need. Chasing relentlessly, still fight, and I don't know why. If our love is tragedy, why are you
Make a build shake. Rock the soul build shake. Rock the soul.
All
Wow.
right.
Wow.
Back to
Can
you,
hear me?
Jay. Yep, I hear you.
That was amazing.
Appreciate
Wow.
it. Thank you.
Like, this is the piece we were just talking about for the intro beginner DJ, and here you are killing it on it. And that's one of the things that I think people need to realize. If they haven't seen your Peter Piper routine on the SB3 and the 400, they need to check that out. I've seen you do that on like any pieces of gear you get near. That's the thing I love
I haven't
about-
tried it on the Flex 6 yet.
What's that?
I said I haven't tried it on the Flex 6 yet.
Oh, you'll have no problems. I guarantee it. But that's what I love about this is it's utilized for anything professional that we need to do. But it's really, to me, more for the, you get a young girl, young guy that are getting into DJing, even if they're a little bit older and they're like, you know what, I play guitar, I play drums, I do whatever, and I want to get into this. What's a good piece that I could start with? I know I want to grow. Well, if you keep growing, you're going to get into the 900 Nexus 2. You're going to get into, the V series. You're going to get into things like that. So I think this is really a great piece to bridge that gap of somebody that might be into it with an SB3 400, or I know I'm going to do it. Well, then make the investment. And I think if you make the investment, you're going to find that you're really going to be excited by it. Man, I can't thank you enough today, PJ. I know you're helping us moderate, I believe, Facebook. So you're checking out questions. Yes. Great performance. I believe we're bringing you back at the end of the show real quick for a moment. I was talking to production there while you're doing your set, and we've decided we're going to move forward and talk with my buddy from South Florida. Then we're going to come back for a quick Q&A. If time allots, we're under the gun a little bit here. Everything's flowing. If things work out, I'd love to bring you back for a little Q&A. I've got in-ears, of course, if those want to come my way from you or from Christian. Any questions we can answer. And anything we don't get to, as I say every show, and I mean this, reach out to us at Pioneer DJ USA on Facebook, on Instagram. Also post them under the show notes, meaning if you go to the post on Facebook where we've put up the photo, you can always put a question in there if we didn't get to it, and I'll do my best to make sure that we answer that. And moving forward, we're talking about doing a quick AMA maybe after DJs and PJs in a couple weeks. So all that said, PJ, as always, thank you, sir, for all your hard work. Great set, great explanation. We are going to see you in a little bit. Before we do, we are going to be moving forward to South Florida to one of our demonstrators. His name is DJ Mark Gallo. He's been around for a long time. He comes from up in the Northeast, where I actually come from, in the same sort of vicinity. And he's had a different realm down there in South Florida because of weather and everything else. Normally, come January, we'd be doing our thing, and then we'd move forward in March for where Miami really shines, where we do Ultra, we do Miami Music Week, we do all these different shows. That landscape has all changed, and with it, Mark has had to change as well. So why don't we do this? Quick sip.
Dude, I finished mine waiting for you, but I got another one.
All right. Well, if you got another one,
Because
then
I know you're a talker.
I'm going to reach over here and get another one as well. Because
Dude,
I
I don't know
don't
if
want
you've
you to
tried these
feel
yet.
like
I'm gonna plug them because not a lot of people know about them.
it's
This is the bomb right here. This is the best seltzer that you can get. It's called High Noon. None of that Truly stuff. What's the other one that the kids are drinking?
White Claw.
Yeah, none of that stuff. This is real vodka and real fruit.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm drinking a beer because as a guy, that's just what I do. So I'm just doing the Mike Hess, the IPA thing. But I'll tell you what, my friend, long time no see. Cheers to you.
Cheers, buddy. I got bored, so I put some lights up.
Good.
How's it look?
All right. Well, luckily, you and I have a long-term relationship, chit-chatting and stuff, and hopefully I can pull the reins a little bit here because you and I both have that same. Wow, they've been talking for 9 hours and they haven't.
We're gonna go off the rails.
You know what, Mark? It's been a tough time. We spoke with Andrew a few weeks ago, so I know what's going on in South Florida. I've got friends down there. I've got DJ Robbins down there. You're down there. Andrew's down there. There's a lot going on. Scott Carroll's down there. Stacy Knowles. We know a lot of the Floridians, and we know you guys have been under the gun, a lot of pressure, a lot of problems. But I don't really want to bring everyone down on that. I want to more look forward. And you and I were talking. We're going to talk about the Flex 6 in just a moment.
Why? Is there something going on or something that I don't know about?
Well, apparently, like if you left your place for more than 10 minutes, you may have noticed there's this whole new regime of things going on in the Floridian area. But I want to know moving forward, because you and I talked the other day, and I was really intrigued at your attitude and aspect about next year and what's happening and how you're preparing. What's the big thing that you've learned now, and what are you doing looking forward to 2021 on a daily basis as a DJ that should be out gigging but isn't?
I mean, you got to find ways to hustle within your realm, whatever you're good at. Any service that you can offer a client. If you're really good on social media, offer managing. And you're gigging at some small bars or clubs, offer to manage their social media if they don't have somebody doing that. That's a way you can get some money. If you're good at producing, doing video production, maybe you can start chopping up videos for clients. If you're an amateur videographer or photographer on the side, I know there's any kind of public events are few and far between, but if people are doing socially distanced events, maybe you can offer doing photo video service. Anything that you can do. What I started doing, I started offering live stream production to other local DJs. I got my little setup here that people can come and stream here if they want to, or I got a mobile setup that I can literally bring a streaming setup to you. So literally, I mean, you just got to dig deep and get creative and try to see what you can incorporate into your arsenal to offer to your clients or your customers, and even to keep money coming in.
Right. No, and obviously very important. One of the things, I don't know if you heard at the top of the show, that happened to me, I actually reached out to one of my holiday clients that I've been doing for probably the last 10 years, said, hey, I'm really sorry we're not going to be working together. But
and then you end up, you did a live event from your house. I ended up doing one of those early on, and I did it through Twitch, and it worked out well. It was a party up in Jacksonville, and I DJ'd from down here. So it worked out, and it's just whatever you can do to get that cash coming in. And sometimes you are going to have to get, like I said, get creative, and like you did, took the initiative, reach out to your client, because you did have that existing relationship. So you gotta really milk everything you can.
Right. No, absolutely. Now, as far as preparing, I'm famous for two things at events. At the end of the night, throwing cables in bags. And then at the beginning of the next event, when someone sees that the cables are all messy and they go, wow, those cables are all messed up, I always say, and I'm going to fire the guy that did it. And they go, seriously? Yeah. I'm like, no, because it was me. Because you try to get out of the gig quick, even though you got to get back into the next gig. Are you doing anything looking forward to 2021 as far as your approach to software, cable management, things like that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Things are really starting to pick up for us back here now. I think they kind of started like mid-October. And thankfully we're really happy about it. But yeah, man. I mean, I spent basically all of lockdown when we had no work. I spent it reorganizing all my library, figuring out like 'cause I think as DJs we all get stuck in a rut. I try to redig stuff out that I didn't that I used to play that I don't really play anymore. Try to throw stuff back in and try to rediscover myself musically, but also like logistically and physically as a mobile DJ. Setup and breakdown are my least favorite part. Like the DJing part isn't work for me. That's fun. The work comes, and what I charge people money for is, lugging all this equipment in. So
Yeah.
I want to do
Load
everything I can do to make my setup and breakdown as fast and efficient as possible. So I spent time, reorganizing all my cables, reorganizing the way I fit everything in my van. I mean, it's just trying to find ways to be productive for myself and for my business. Maybe that doesn't apply for everybody if you're a club DJ, but there are things you can do as a club DJ to better organize your music. So, you too can rediscover tracks that, maybe you should be playing that you forgot about or that you haven't played in a long time that you can pull back out and impress your crowd with when you are allowed to play for a crowd again.
Yeah, it's so easy to fall into that rut of, man, this set killed at this event, and then it killed at this, and it killed, and I added one song and it killed again. And before you know it, you've got that 100 songs that you're working out, and you're picking from that group, but you're bringing a 1 terabyte with 80,000 songs on it.
Yep.
And I love that. When after you said that, I actually sat down and plugged in my hard drive to just my home PC and was like, man, let's go by BPM. What am I not playing? What should I be playing? And I did that. I mean, I think you saw one of them, or back when I was doing my little driveway set, I was shocked the number of DJs who were like, hey, try this song, try this song, try this song. I think that's a big part of what we are and what we do is communication. Obviously, Pioneer DJ, we have the forums, we have our outlets on Facebook and Instagram, but have you been talking with other DJs in the area as to, how are they getting through this and what is their big plan for 2021? The dead time and downtime is gone, but moving forward, is there a game plan that you've seen that works that maybe you could share with everyone in the audience?
I mean, other than what I suggested is to trying to find any avenue that you can follow to make money within your field, whatever you're good at, whatever you enjoy doing. I mean, yeah, I got a lot of guys down here have all done the same thing. Have either, a lot of them have a graphic design background, so they've been working more with that stuff. So, or an IT background, and they've been kind of having to, merge and do a little bit of that stuff, or go back to their quote unquote day job. But
Right.
As far as preparing, I mean, there's not a ton you can do to prepare, for the unknown. It's kind of being more open to things that you weren't open to before. So, obviously I'm not there were some events maybe that I would be turning down before in peak season, where if I get one of those now, I'm not turning anything down. You know what I mean? I'm not going to turn it down in hopes that something else bigger might come in. It's like at this point, I'm taking everything I can get. There's a lot of discounted work coming in because if places can only open at 50% capacity, obviously, it's going to be tough for them to pay everybody full rate. So they're, well, have you play at an adjusted time and an adjusted rate. So, something you got to do.
That's that reality that we're facing. I remember how many Miamis as DJ Horse Nipple, I would headline the Carl Cox tent at Ultra, and that's obviously not happening. Carl
Not for a while.
Like, keep the horse headed home. I don't need you this year. And I'm like, really? He's like, maybe 2022. And I said, but in the meantime, what can I do? And he's like, you can still gig. Just don't use the name, don't use the horse head. And I'm fine with that. I really am. I know you were big on that. You were really good as far as being a backup for me on that. But, I'm finding a lot of new clients are coming in now and they're looking for bookings for next summer, next fall. Are you seeing that down in Florida as well? It's certainly happening out here in California, and I'm so grateful that it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's people are booking far out. Like I'm getting calls. Some people are asking about January 2022, And I typically don't get booked that far out in advance. I know some bigger DJ companies do with full, who do the big, $40,000 wedding packages with they get booked years in advance. But yeah, no, I mean, it's people who had stuff booked for fall of 2021 are like, I'm waiting till this is completely gone. I'm going to move it just in case. And because a lot of other people who had to postpone their weddings all had to slide. So it's like everyone now, if you're trying to postpone, you might have to wait till 2022. So it's tricky.
Yeah. Now, I know you haven't had a lot of time on it, but I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do want to ask you, obviously the topic of the show this week was our new release of the DDJ-FLX6, the Flex 6.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the box, and to your credit, as I am, as you are, as a lot of DJs, you're a big fan of Serato. You use Serato DJ Pro in your day-to-day life as a DJ. The time you've spent on this, I know you can scratch better than I can. And I'm not a big scratch guy, but you're much more of the club mix guy. Have you had some time on it where you've said, wow, these full-size platters are really helpful as far as queuing in where I want to be?
I mean, okay, so I've been listening to the whole show, and you guys are right about everything you said about it. It's great for beginners, and it's great for that mid-level. This is something, if you got it for a gift as a first-time DJ, it's something you can keep until you get your big set. Like there doesn't need to be an intermediate step.
No.
But I'm a bit of a tinkerer. So when I look at products, I don't look at them for what they were intended for. I look at it from my perspective. How can I use this? How could this make me better? And I mean, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of stuff that the bigger units have that this doesn't have. I don't care about that because I'm looking at this, and I know a few of the commenters have said it. I'm looking at this as a backup system or as a secondary system in addition to my main setup. So if I have to do a ceremony, I could use this. If I have to do a cocktail hour or like maybe an after party that's in a B room and I got to jump over there real quick and I don't have time to, bring my other top system with me. This is amazing for that. It's got full-size platters. It's got 4 channels and it's bus powered and it's $600. I mean, like, it sells itself. I don't even care about the merge effects or any of the bells and whistles. I really don't. That's just me. That's how I view it. Right. Now, those things are those are great values, but
I knew you would.
I'm just looking at it from that backup point.
Right. I knew you would have an entirely different perspective. I think a lot of DJs tend to look at gear and say, oh, it does this, it does that. And I thought, you know what? I want to have Mark on the show because he's going to get the Flex 6, take one look and be like, look at this. This is exactly what I would use this for. And have that perspective that's different.
I mean, I'm also the same guy who's DJ'd wedding ceremonies with an iPad Pro and a DDJ 200 and my Bose S1 Pro speakers. So completely wireless. Right. No power, no audio cables, just one USB cable from the iPad to the controller. Right.
And that's exactly where you end up with this.
Yep. It's perfect.
And the guys that we both know that are using the ISM, 300, 400 transmitters that are just the transmitter and the receiver are the same size. They're both battery powered. You plug it in, you're done. So this has a lot of that potential. I'm glad to hear you're still doing well down there. We got to get together at some point for a drink and just see each other. It's been a minute, so it's been too long.
Do we have to wear a mask? How does that work?
Yeah, you know what? For the time being, we do. I'm looking forward to the days of walking down South Miami and just, hitting Next Cafe. We had Larry on last show, and I tried to tell the story. We didn't have time.
I don't think we're allowed.
So sad.
Oh, man.
But it happens. But, you say hi to Hirsch and everyone else down there, and anybody if there's anyone waiting tables down at Shelbourne, National, any of those. And hopefully, again, we'll meet up at the Red Bull breakfast. So,
oh, my goodness.
What I would love to do right now is I'd love to keep you on. Let's just do a couple minutes of question and answer if we could.
Sure.
I'm going to bring PJ back. I am going to go off in-ears on this one. And we're going to just check a couple questions out. People may have, the reason I want to keep you on, Mark, not only that I love you, but people may have specific questions that you could answer in 2 or 3 words. And you just make it easy on the fan base, you know? They may
2 or
have
3?
this wedding. Don't do that. You know, things like that. So,
Don't do that. It's 3.
back.
Okay.
PJ, any questions that jumped out, or if Pulse has access to my in-ears, I know he's over there on Twitch. PJ is on the Facebook feed.
I didn't get any questions on Facebook.
Wait a second. Hold on, PJ. All 4 of us are on screen.
Whispering things in your ears.
4 horsemen riding over the horizon. We've got Gallo, Pulse, PJ, and me on screen. Oh, this is too much. This is the kind of setup people pay for.
Yeah, I ran a quick little survey just to see what people were doing, and it seems like a lot of people are going to jump in and learn some new things or do some remixing in sort of the COVID downtime. For some of us, it's just called winter.
For you, yes, it is. It's also like 30 below zero where you are, so because you're in Canada. And I think we've all seen that show with Fred Armstead, so we know it's very cold. Or that's Portland. Same thing, Vancouver. Same sort of. Any point, anyone bring up anything kind of that we didn't touch on about the Flex 6?
No, there was a few questions that we got answered in there, but as you mentioned, if there's anyone who's got one right now, just drop it into the chat. We've got the Facebook and Twitch chats running, so we can grab those. There's some people asking, you know, what about the SX4? And I answered to that one as the DDJ-1000 SRT. I don't know how you guys feel about that as being the successor to the SX line.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being the next generation of the SX3, being that it's just really Serato based and being that it's 4-channel, different platter setup. You know, as I've said many times, I got late in the game on controllers starting in 2011 with the DDJ S1, our 2-channel version of a Serato itch controller. When the SX came out, I was fortunate enough to launch that along with you, Mark. PJ wasn't around at the time. I think he was only like 50 then. So it was way back when. Looks young. And I really love that setup. DDJ-1000 works great for me. The XDJ-XZ, I think, is probably the ultimate piece for anybody. But when I got on this, on the Flex 6, I was like, wow, this is so reminiscent of where I've been and really what works for me. You know, so I can see people seeing that as a predecessor. You know what? Everybody wants to move forward. And I think it's difficult sometimes to not look at things as, this isn't right for me. No, it's not. If you're a full-time DJ, if you're out gigging at weddings and big parties and big clubs, this is a piece that you would utilize to practice, do mixes in your office, really as a second kind of tier. If you're new to the world of DJing and you got on that in a club setup and it looks the same as what you have seen in videos, you're going to feel really good about yourself and where you start as a DJ. I don't think we should put it down and not let people grow. But I also think you need to know when, you know, a college sophomore is never going to say, man, I need to go back to my senior year in high school. No, dude, you're a sophomore in college. Like, you move forward on levels, but you can also go back and forth with gear. You can be experienced. I could give this to friends of ours. Chris Cox would be killer on this. Warren would be killer on this. Warren Peace. We could give this to, you know, Cascade or Tiesto. They could do a set. I mean, it's the tool that we utilize, but it also is the introduction to new people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, like you said, the consistency between the products as well. This has the layout of a CDJ. And I definitely think that there's that comfort level between the products that you could move from one to the other. One question we had come up is, does the Flex 6 have a mic? Yes, it does.
It does have a microphone. Mine is actually on the front. We use microphones in Florida. Exactly, Mark. Microphones.
Wow, he didn't even move his mouth. That was amazing.
He's been working on this whole ventriloquist thing, which I'm really impressed with. It does have a single microphone because, again, this is a piece that you're utilizing for smaller events. You're not up here with 3 mics or 2 mics with 3-band EQ because you need to have all these people talking. This is setting you up for success by letting you use a microphone, got your headphones, got your 4 channels, got your filters, have effects, integrate software, and then still be able to go on and do whatever it is you want to do, moving up the ladder of equipment. It fills, really, I think PJ and I were talking about it yesterday, it really fills that gap of someone that wants more than a 400. When I looked at the 400 and the SB3 at first, I'm like, these are amazing little backup pieces. They're great intro pieces. They're just little pieces. This to me is something that if you threw it in front of somebody that's already using Serato and rekordbox DJ and switched it out, they're not going to get lost on it. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we need to address is that it's not an entry-level product. It's not a professional, multi-$1,000 setup, but you can achieve a lot of the same things as you can on the bottom of the barrel, the DDJ-200, lowest price product we have that you can carry around practically in your pocket. That thing is so lightweight and tiny. But it's also not the XDJ-XZ. I mean, it's not this behemoth of a controller, but it does. They all do so many of the same things. They all have slight variations. So I think we're just filling that gap between the 400 and 800 level product that you say, well, now this actually does give me an opportunity to get a little bit more than the beginner stuff, but not pay as much as the more professional stuff.
Right. I completely agree. And I think there is that gap where the 2-channel is like, oh, I get it. I got 2 little things and this is full-size platters. I mean, literally putting it up against the CDJ 3000, they're the same size platters. And as I said, the beautiful wife comes in and goes, oh, what's this, new gear? Yeah, it looks like records, and walks away. And I'm like, yeah, it really does, looking down on it. So I think you have to take it into consideration. We have this, as you and I have said on the phone, the 2 turntables and the microphone Beck mentality of this is the perception of a DJ. This fits right in there. And I think it's got a lot of those options.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll jump in real quick. I think that if you're a DJ and you're already gigging and you're a pro, don't look at this as, oh, I'm too cool for that. Like, I don't need something like that because it's entry level. No, I mean, you might be able to utilize this in your setup if you need, if you need a backup system or if you need any kind of secondary system, but you want it to still be somewhat reminiscent of a full size controller or a full CDJ DJM setup. This is it. I mean, It's got full size platters, 4 channels, and it's only $600. Like,
yeah. Well, and I think space is one of those accommodations. I know last time, again, time just seems to march on without any stop. Christian or Pulse was with me a couple of years ago. We went down to Miami. We saw Mark's place. I don't know if it's changed much. At the time, Mark's waterbed filled up like 3/4 of the apartment. Where do you put gear?
Floor. It's the floor.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Where do you put gear, though?
Garage.
See, exactly. If you had something like this, you could sit in a chair and just simply have it, play with it, and be good to go.
I mean, I got it. It's right here. Literally, it's so easy to
put it in your lap. Show Jay what he was talking about.
Literally, like it's so small. It's so small and light. Again, and like again, man, it's great.
Mark, you're used to using the SR. How do you feel that compares in terms of the features that are on there and the jog size? I mean, that's obviously something that people are comparing, but in terms of the feature set.
Right. I mean, again, that's a lot of people laughed at me when, they found out I was DJing pro gigs with a DDJ SR. Like even some of you guys laughed at it. Hey man, it gets the job done. And sometimes I needed.
Don't laugh at me.
It was my second setup. Sometimes, again, I needed a second setup, or it was a backup, or something where I had a really small DJ booth, or they already had equipment, but I didn't want to use it. I'd rather use my own Pioneer stuff. So I would bring this one because it's super easy to carry, super portable. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's essentially, to me, a full-size version of that.
Yeah.
Because
I agree with you. Bus powered alone. You could sit in the car. And I actually talked to PJ about this last night. I don't know how he got so quiet, but I talked to him last night about sitting out in one of my newest vehicles that I just acquired, which I'll say what it is. Please don't hate on me for showing off. It's a 1997 Geo Metro, and the radio has a mini plug. So I'm like, I can go sit in my car with a laptop, Flex 6, plug in from RCA to Mini, and actually play through the stereo while safely sitting in the back seat. I'm not going to drive and do this, but you know, I can't do that with my, you know, SX3. I can't do it with my DDJ-1000 SRT because I need power for everything. I just love the fact that I could go to the beach, sit down, put on headphones, open a laptop, and just chill and just do some mixes, be inspired, go in the woods, go camping. Christian just bought a 6x6 camping unit made in Canada.
Dude, that thing is so dope.
But he could take this along and not worry about, you know, hurting the environment or some owl or power sources or anything else.
Yeah, I'd love to convert that over. But while Jay's on his tangent, I'm going to come back to something PJ just actually sent in a message. He said, you know, you can actually use another audio interface for this to have a balanced output. And he's absolutely correct. I was commenting in the Twitch chat that some of the stuff I've got set up is in combination. Sometimes I'm playing around to see how these units work. Somebody was talking about, MetaPattern was talking about using a DDJ-200 with CDJ-2000s on the sides. And yeah, you can certainly do this. You can add and combine things. If you want, I mean, someone else mentioned a 4-deck, they want a 4-deck controller. Well, you can do that by getting a couple of CDJs and plunking them down on the sides because this has 4 channels of mixer on it. And so if you wanted to use another audio interface as your output, yeah, the rekordbox allows you to do that. So you can have this stuff controlling it and your audio goes somewhere else. So there's a lot of flexibility in the combinations of hardware you can put together to really expand on it. I know I was having a chat with Drew, one of our product planners, worked on the S11. You saw him last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry. He had the SR2 connected up with his setup using stuff from the pads along with the jogs in with the S11. So like weird combinations of stuff that you can do.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you know, older DJs like me go back to the days of, oh, what do I need to do? Oh, I'll plug this into this, into this, into this, and just make it work. You've got a mixer sitting around. Like you said, if you got 2 CDJs and a mixer, now you have a 4-deck controller by just running audio in and out. It's not, you know, impossible. I still think when the day is over, this is going to be a great piece, especially with the holidays coming. Times are tough, but somebody said to me, hey, you know, my friend's really into DJing on software. They don't have a controller. They're using their laptop. What do you think? Man, if they've been doing it for a while and they're sincere and serious, this would be a great choice or option, I think. Right out of the gate, running Serato DJ Pro as well as rekordbox DJ. I mean, you know, I
think we nailed it with the name, man. The Flex, because it's flexible. It's you can utilize it. You can do anything with it.
No, absolutely. Not everything, but some things.
Almost everything.
Well, you know what, guys? I'm looking up at the clock, and it's almost time for us to go. So, again, thank you so much, PJ, for talking nonstop in the actual Q&A section.
No problem.
Thank you. Mark, what can I say? I could do the Mark voice all night. And if you ever meet up with Mark, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you have to text him,
I'm excitable.
Just do all caps.
All caps.
Yeah. Love you, Mark.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Christian, always a pleasure. Talk to you later at some point. Did Mark just dive out of the room?
He's gone. He's gone.
You gotta take a dog out.
Wow. Okay. Doesn't understand the way it works on TV. Like we
well, for anyone who's hanging around in here in the Twitch, I'm going to send you guys off on a raid.
Hey, that wasn't me, man. I got cut off.
He is. He's back. I've returned.
I got cut off.
Awesome. All right, guys, without anyone leaving or turning anything off, Mark, thank you so much. You're in South Florida. You want to look up DJ Mark Gallo. Christian Pulse up in Vancouver. He's going to be having Thanksgiving on Monday. Happy.
Oh, no, we did ours in October.
What?
Canadian Thanksgiving's in October. We do ours on the right day.
What's Monday?
You guys. Monday. It's called Monday.
Oh, sorry. He'll be having Gray Friday, maybe. That's true, too. If you want to get a good price on Pioneer gear, 5 p.m. Thursday before Black Friday, check us out. We're making all of our announcements on Black Friday. So Thursday at 5 p.m., not this Thursday, obviously, you're watching me. Next Thursday, 26th, 5 p.m. That's all our Black Friday announcements. So Christian, thank you. PJ, thank you so much. Great performance, great walkthrough. And Mark, thank you. I don't know. I'll see you at some point eventually. Guys, anything else comes up, let me know. I'll feed it off if anyone has questions specific to you guys. Mark had that calendar he did in the firefighter outfits years ago. We'll get back to that if somebody wants copies. Christian, former Speedo model, and PJ, celebrating his 75th birthday coming up next week. Wish him happy birthday if you see him. Everything we've been talking about, the DDJ-FLX6.
Let this guy in.
Fine. Huh?
Let this guy in.
I'm a professional. Let me go. Everything is Pioneer DJ USA. Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. Please join us on Twitch. I cannot wait to make a lot of you VIPs. December 10th, our next show. What's the topic? Surprise. I'm going to announce it later. Why? Because I want to keep you on pins and needles about this one. But it's going to be a big show. Between then and now, do a little AMA. Ask me anything probably after the DJs and PJs. Next week is Thanksgiving. It's not going to be like anyone we've ever had. It is what it is. I'm thankful that when I go to bed at night, there's a pillow. I'm thankful there's a sheet. Be thankful that we have each other. Be thankful that we're going to get out of this. And be thankful that we're all alive and well. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every time we do this show. JP, thank you so much. Hector, everyone at Pioneer DJ USA, thank you. To all of you, cheers. Stay safe, stay well. Happy Thanksgiving till we see you again. Peace.